Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome to the Season Keepers, the show where the only two people we recommend keeping for the season is us. My name's Matt, aka Clean Sheet Wipeout.
My name's James, aka SK James FPL.
How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, pretty good, thank you.
Yeah, been a an up and down game week, I think. A lot of us punted on Burnley. I am forever reminded, don't captain shit players from shit teams, but I keep doing it.
Yeah, and I think I'll keep doing it as well. It's too hard to resist the allure of all the doubles, but yeah, we get stung.
Exactly. I mean, we're never going to win FPL, so might as well just have some fun, play the game, and then hopefully still finish in the top 100k.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking for this pod, James, we'll obviously do our usual rundown, but we might speed that up a bit because it feels like a pivotal point in the season. There's a lot of different strategies going around now that we've got the FA Cup fixtures out of the way. The kind of route for game week 30 is a lot clearer. And now we're seeing wild cards, free hits, people, dead ending their teams. So I think that's definitely worth a discussion at the end. So hopefully we'll get through these games and then we can have a proper discussion about that and what our plans are as well.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds good.
So first things first, it was the Friday night game that I went to. It was Southampton 2, Norwich 0.
Yeah, another great result for us.
Yeah,
A bit of a surprise with a Romeo goal.
stunning.
What a treat.
Absolutely stunning for them from basically the same area that obviously Armstrong hit that screamer in the cup, and it's the area in which I sit with my dad now, like front row. So as soon as he hit it, saw it fly, and unbelievable. But I'm glad he scored it, albeit we left it late because we should have put Norwich to bed a long time before that. They were poor. Angus Gunn made 7 saves in the game. Forster was rarely tested. I think he's got one official save down, but yeah, it was one of those games really that we looked dominant but didn't really take the chances. I think Broja had a couple he perhaps should have scored, but yeah, obviously Che Adams got his goal, real scruffy one to be honest, but they all count. And then Romeo tied it off. But those that punted on kind of Saints assets, particularly defensively, did particularly well. Obviously Walker Peters 3 bonus points, the Romero 2 bonus points. I had a lot of DMs last week about Saints defenders, so I'm glad it paid off.
Yeah, no, very good move for those that went for the defenders. I think a lot of people, like myself included, went for Breuer, and it didn't really pay off. Obviously, it was Adams that actually got the returns, a bit more expensive, so probably people moving off of the likes of Josh King couldn't get there.
Yeah.
So even so, before the game, I think if they were the same price, I still probably would have actually gone Breuer. So
Same.
I don't really regret it. My girlfriend went for Breuer, Adams, paid off straight away. Fair
Hold
play
on.
to her.
Don't cold storm your girlfriend, mate. You'll get slapped.
Fiance.
There you go.
There we go. The appropriate title.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, very good performance from the team. I was worried at one stage with Gunn making all these saves, whether it's going to be one of those days where an ex-Saint sort of stops us getting the 3 points.
Yeah.
But we did actually manage to sort of kill the game off in the end, which is something we've not been that good at previously.
No, definitely not. And we've only lost one game at home all season, albeit we've drawn a lot. The one game we lost was game week 6 to Wolves, 1-0. But yeah, I hadn't realised until I started to properly look at the stats, and maybe one of the reasons why we're up there. But yeah, one game all season at home, it kind of St Mary's has felt a bit like a fortress, and attendance has been up because of it, which is quite nice. Saints are obviously part of the double game week discussions that we'll come on to, so we'll talk about them a bit later on. So the next game is, well, sadly the end of Marcelo Bielsa. It was Leeds 0, Spurs 4.
Yeah, it's sad to see him go. I like the man. I admired the watching them last season was amazing. Every game was just entertaining. Even this season, it's been entertaining. Obviously, it's not been good for Leeds fans, but their attacking style of football is just so good to watch. It's just obviously when it goes wrong quite badly, and they've
Yeah.
had a series of heavy defeats now, and obviously this is sort of the final one that kind of ended it for him.
Yeah, sadly so. And it was one man, Matt Doherty, that kind of stole the show. And we've used Doherty. You'll notice on the YouTube is the thumbnail, and Planet FPL was immediately on Twitter asking what the fuck that was. Well, I was at the Planet FPL meetup last Saturday, and he was certainly cheering him on when he was scoring. So
Yeah. Maybe we'll eventually get back in his good books.
might do.
But yeah, very, very strong performance from Spurs, and I'm so glad I don't have Luke Ayling in my team anymore. Don't know how I had him in my team in the first place, but yeah, a series of minus falls.
God,
I hit him out, and I'm glad to never see him again.
yeah, definitely. And I free hit this week, and pretty glad I did because it was the only way I was getting Harry Kane into my team. I just wish I'd captained him, but obviously we've mentioned about the double game week players, and we'll come on to Burnley shortly.
Yeah,
But yeah, Kane did what Kane did best, and this felt like a proper Kane game against Leeds. I captained him in Sky, and obviously those that listen to that pod, you'll hear our discussions about him there. But yeah, he looked sharp, and this was the goal. Kane's assist for Son, I think, is the one that broke the record, so that was good to see as well. Obviously the Drogba Lampard.
yeah, amazing partnership between those two, and I'm sure they'll keep going.
Yeah, and the other man, Kulusevski, worth consideration.
I think so. I hopped onto him in one of my Sky teams. I'd get him in FPL, but I've not really been looking at that position. My midfield I'm quite
Hmm.
happy with.
Yeah,
I've had more concerns with like Watford strikers and dodgy defenders. So if you're in the market for a midfielder in his price range, yeah, go for it straight away. I think
yeah, definitely.
looks a really good player.
Yeah, it really does. Particularly, obviously, the fact that pretty sure, yeah, obviously they play in 30, so we're gonna have to start considering those players. If you're not free hitting in game
Depends on
week
your
30,
strategy. Yeah.
exactly. So yeah, for that type of asset at only 6 million, I think he's certainly a consideration. On the other side, obviously Leeds losing their manager, um, likely to change things because it feels like the new guy that's coming in, what's his name? Go on, remind me, James. Can't remember his name.
I'm not sure who it is.
It'll come to me later. But it feels like his tactics are somewhat different to Bielsa. Obviously, it's very much about the pressing game, but I think he's slightly more defensive from what I've read. And that could have an impact, but it also feels that he likes to tighten the game up a bit. Pull it in. That could mean that Rafinha is more central. So worth keeping an eye on. And Rafinha is one of those players that I want to discuss in a bit more detail later because he's one of my considerations.
Fair enough. Is it this American dude?
Yes,
Okay, Jesse Marsh.
that's the one. Yeah, there you go. For those people
There we
that
go.
realise that I've completely forgotten the name. Anyway, moving on to the next game, and this involves a team that now have two doubles in a row, and it's not Brentford. Brentford 0, Newcastle 2.
No, yeah, another a good win for Newcastle. Without Callum Wilson, might not have even had Sam Maximin in this game either. I
No,
don't
they
think.
didn't. No.
No, so did very well to get a good result out of this game. I mean, you could even look at Newcastle players two consecutive doubles. If you're free hitting in game week 30, then it would make sense to maybe go for one. Obviously, they're not the best team in the world, but you could still maybe find a gem in there, be it Willock or a defender
Yeah.
or maybe Matty Target. He's cheap,
Yeah.
could even get an assist. I mean, out of 4 games, the chance of him getting an assist increases.
It does.
Um,
I could see Willock being quite popular.
yeah, he's cheap, 5.7.
Exactly. If Sam Maximin is deemed fit, then people might punt that way, just because obviously the double double.
Thing is, though, you probably won't play them all.
Exactly. That's the thing, and he might well get injured again. Like you never know with him, but
Yeah. Oh
inevitably
dear,
he won't.
first game.
Yeah, it could well be, but he's so explosive. Like, is it worth if you're punting and you're maybe chasing? It could be worth a risk, but if you're trying to maybe preserve rank, I wouldn't necessarily go there. Another man that I wouldn't go to, but got his second goal of the season. It's only taken him 15 weeks since game week 12, but we all know he's now a number 8 rather than a forward. It was Joe Linton.
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be going there,
No,
but yeah, he's playing well in his new role.
he is.
Yeah, and a very good result, but I guess very worrying for Brentford. these are the sort of games that they're at home as well that they're going to expect at least a point out of, and it's just going to be dragging them further and further, sort of down towards that bottom three.
Yep. And obviously Newcastle seem to have tightened up a bit now, and their double looks reasonable. You know, Brighton and Saints. The next double a little bit trickier. You know, Chelsea away, but then it's also Everton away. Would you consider Dubravka if you were wild carding?
Possibly. The thing
4.4
is,
million.
though, are you then gonna have to just sort of move him on? Probably.
Yeah, it depends on the strategy you take, really, isn't it? And again, this will come to our strategy discussions because they don't play in 30. But if you can get 4 games out of him in the next 2, inevitably he's going to pick up some save points. I think, you know, playing the likes of Saints and Chelsea, they're gonna have chances. But there could be a clean sheet in there. You know, home to Brighton aren't exactly on the best of form at the moment. No reason why I can't see a clean sheet there. And away to Everton, it's a tricky game, you know, given the circumstances. But again, you know, I think Eddie Howe tactically could get something out of them in that one. So if you got maybe 2 clean sheets across the 4 games, you'd think that's definitely a success. And even one with, you know, save points, I think that would be all right given his price tag at 4.4.
Yeah, I think like if they were to keep a clean sheet in one of those games, he could be sat on a 9 to 12 pointer
Yeah,
in
yeah,
one of those
yeah,
because you probably get bonus as well, even if it's 0-0.
exactly. Yeah, I think it's definitely a consideration, particularly, yeah, if you're wild carding, looking to maybe bench boost in 29, you know, there's all sorts of options there, but I think Dubravka's a good one. The next game, so obviously the game that a lot of us were punting on, and when Jeffrey Schlupp wiped out the clean sheet, and yeah, it was an own goal for for Palace, so we didn't even get any Weghorst points there. It was Palace 1, Burnley 1.
Yeah, bit disappointing here. Obviously, we both had Burnley defense, we both had Burnley attack, and we got nothing out of it really. Very disappointing. Out of the 2 games, I feel like I would have maybe slightly fancied Burnley a little bit more in this game.
Yeah, same.
At least maybe on the sort of red horse side of things, I thought he'd maybe get a goal.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, it's just one of those things.
yeah, slightly frustrating, but it is what it is. It's inevitable. You know, Palace are good at home, and like I said, we're all punting on a pretty poor team and not exactly the best players from them. So yeah, it's going to bite us in the arse, and it did so. And another team that got bitten in the arse this week was Man United. Drop points. Man United 0, Watford 0.
Yeah, I held on to Bruno Fernandes for this game, and I expected a bit more, to be honest.
I think a lot of people did.
Was hoping for at least one return, and yeah, to see United not even score was a bit of a surprise. But my team was grateful because I had Foster in goal, who ended up getting a 10 pointer,
He did.
which
He
is
smashed it.
unexpected at Old Trafford.
I know.
Um,
Unbelievable.
very happy with that for a goalkeeper that's like 4 million.
Yeah, no, great return. And obviously United had rotated for this one as well, hadn't they? So Luke Shaw, Sancho, Maguire were all on the bench, and it didn't exactly pay off.
No, Maguire was in your free hit, wasn't
So was Sancho.
he? And Sancho, yeah.
Fucking brilliant,
Oh
honestly.
dear.
But the free hit still did okay. But yeah,
And Mahrez.
yeah, stop it. But I was fuming at the meetup when obviously I saw that United line, and it was a gamble. I thought, you know, inevitable clean sheet against Watford, got to go there. But yeah, I did not expect Maguire to be one of those that were rested. Fucking joke.
Oh dear.
And from one team that's out of form to another, Brighton aren't looking particularly impressive at the moment, whereas Aston Villa picked up a vital 3 points. It was Brighton 0, Villa 2.
Yeah, I think these two teams have sort of both been a little bit out of form,
Yeah.
and obviously something had to give. And yeah, got good performance from Villa. A lot of people hopped off of Ollie Watkins, so I'm sure that hurt a few.
Mm.
But yeah, Brighton. So I've got Veltman myself, and I've been a little bit disappointed by them recently. They were sort of a few games ago sort of lauded as a great defense, but it's kind of fallen apart a little bit. I don't know if that's because of injuries or
They,
probably because of injuries,
they
but
just seem to do this, don't they? I know, obviously, yeah, they've missed Dunk for a while. They're now missing Webster, but they've gone really off the boil. And again, they've had one of those seasons where it looks as though they could climb the table and then they just stagnate. And I think I think they'll be fine. You know, I don't think they'll get sucked into the relegation scrap. But once again, it's just going to be one of those where they're kind of hanging on to the end of the season and then they'll try again. Whereas for Villa, I think Gerrard needed this. I don't think they've got anything to play for this season. I've just come off the player Clash of the Correspondents on the Planet FPL and spoke to Lee Jackson, who's the Villa correspondent. He's very much of the same opinion that there isn't a lot to play for, but they should really be using this run till the end of the season to kind of pick up some form and try and establish more of a formation and a way of playing under Gerrard particularly. And one of those things sounds like he wants to play Watkins and Ings up top together, and that's the approach that they took this time round. He said in a press conference that he had spoken to both of them and he didn't want to continue having to make the decision of playing one or the other. So he decided to play both, and it paid off.
Yeah, I mean, if they can play both of them, then I think it would, and they can get it to work. It would be quite appealing to buy either one of those strikers. So yeah, I hope it works out for them.
Yeah, and obviously Watkins is another one that they've got quite a good double this week for coming the 28th. Saints at home,
Oh yeah,
Leeds away. It's tasty. They also play in 30. It's just whether you're willing to take a punt at 7.5 million on someone like Watkins, because he's not exactly been prolific this season. Before the goal at the weekend, his last goal came 10 weeks ago against Norwich, where he got a goal and an assist, and since then it's been nothing. So it is punty. Had Bielsa been in charge, I might have been more confident, but see, with Leeds, new
new
manager,
manager. Yeah,
it could be tricky, and obviously Saints are on a good run of form at the moment. So what looks in the FDR rating is a great set of fixtures. I think if you go into detail, I think they could be quite tight.
yeah, I'd agree with that. It's a bit deceiving.
Finally, on the Saturday games, James, there was a bit of controversy regarding this one. It was Everton 0, Man City 1.
Yeah, obviously the penalty decision to not give the penalty. Obviously it's since been like the referees association have come out and apologized
Fucking
basically.
joke, honestly.
Yeah, obviously it's a very clear handball, and obviously now with the benefit of technology, they get time to like replay the video. So strange how they've come to that conclusion.
Yeah,
Uh, you're
baffling.
obviously fuming if you're Frank Lampard. Obviously, a point at home to City would be a very good result.
Yep.
Um,
And it'd have been a
yeah,
huge dent to City as well.
yeah, for the title race would have been a very could be pivotal. Could decide things in the end, but um, obviously credit to those on Phil Foden. I don't think there's many on him. Six and a
No.
half percent of people. That might even include a fair amount of dead teams.
Yep. I expect so.
Yeah, 7 goals, 4 assists, not bad. Obviously, they blank in 30. They don't double, so I feel like people aren't going to be buying City assets. And I've actually seen people selling the likes of Cancelo,
Yeah,
which I think is maybe unthinkable. I don't even contemplate it. Forget
no.
the singles and doubles. Yeah, if he blanks like 3 weeks in a row, I'd get rid of him. But
Yeah.
he doesn't. He's even against Man United, I think he could get like a 12 pointer.
I'm sure, was it the last time they played Man United? Yeah, he got 14 points. He got 2 assists, a clean sheet, 3 bonus points.
Yeah, I'd feel confident of City getting a clean sheet against Man United, and he can always get an attack and return
Yeah,
against anyone.
likewise. I saw a lot of people on the free hit this week not have him.
Yeah,
He was the first one on my free hit because I knew that he could do well, and
he'd punish you.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%. And obviously with his ownership up at 44.5%, if he scored big, which he did pretty well, 9 points, it's not bad given there's no attack and return there. Yeah, it's going to go hard, and yeah, the big decision I'm seeing a lot of people saying potentially selling Cancelo this week, and it's not for me.
yeah, I don't agree with it. Yeah, madness. There's a
Yeah,
few other moves like that floating around. Are a bit questionable.
definitely. And then the next game is a game I watched on the coach on the way back from London, trying not to fall asleep, and it was all right. It wasn't the best of games. It was West Ham 1, Wolves 0.
Yeah, a return for Antonio owners that have been starving while Bowen's been feasting.
Yeah, so
So
when I take him out of my team to free hit, he gets an assist. Then when he's back in my team, he's going to be fuck all again.
we'll see. Maybe it might perk him up a bit. But so a good goal from Suchek.
Yeah,
A good win for West Ham against a pretty
yeah,
strong Wolves side. So they'll take that. They're still in with a chance of getting that top four, which is what they're aiming for, I guess now.
yeah, big time. It's got to be.
Saar doing some saves as well. Obviously, a very good goalkeeper. Even when they're losing, they're not conceding too many. A pick maybe on wildcard people may consider. It's just obviously they double in 28. They also play in 30. But the likes of Wolves, I think maybe Arsenal are teams that people are going to be targeting on wildcard. We'll come on to it in a minute, but decent pick.
Yeah, for sure. And I spent a lot of time with Bradley Parker. Stayed in the same kind of hotel as him in London, and we had breakfast together on the Sunday. And he was adamant that Jimenez needed a rest. And I think James Plant FPL put a pretty drunken video up on Saturday. There was 3 Wolves fans with us, Bradley and 2 others, and all 3 of them said I wouldn't go near Jimenez for game week 28. And lo and behold, in game week 27, Jimenez didn't even start.
Yeah, well, that's good insight from them. And yeah, maybe I think people are kind of staying away now. I think
Yeah,
you want your player to play in both games, and maybe he won't.
yeah,
Although if he's had his rest, arguably he could do, but it's one of those.
it is. Yeah, it's for me at his price. I don't think it's worth the risk anymore. And
No,
maybe 4 or 5 game weeks ago, people would have still been willing to take that punt, but Jimenez hasn't been the Jimenez of old this season. And there's all sorts of reasons why, but yeah, not for me. Not at that price tag.
no, I think people are looking at actually our strikers if they want a striker.
Yeah,
Saints, very good double, good players. We're in form,
agreed.
playing very well. Well, I think we're watched Black Box yesterday, and we're the 4th best attacking team in the last 6
Wow, that's
in terms
that's that's
in terms of
surprising.
stats. Yeah, so
Nice.
that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, definitely from us. And then before we got into strategy, then the final game of the game week, and it was what the double game week for Burnley, and it looked pretty good for a while, and then Ben Mee went off injured, but Pope was doing all right. He was keeping a clean sheet, and then Vardy and Madison came on. Burnley 0, Leicester 2.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I did enjoy that clean sheet wipeout, knowing you had Pope.
Fucking joke.
I mean, I had Ben Mee. He'd gone off, so I didn't give a shit about the
No,
clean sheet anymore.
raging.
Vardy doing damage
It,
off the bench. He's just if he could stay fit and play more regularly, you'd be on him in a moment. But
yeah,
even when he is fit, he Rogers likes to rotate him a bit because he does sort of have that weird injury that kind of flares up every now and again.
exactly, and they're still in Europe, which is another thing. They
Mm,
don't double this side of blank game week 30. They obviously play in 30, which I think Leicester could become one of the best options that week. Brentford at home. Now, the likes of Vardy, Madison, if you're on a free hit, I'd be very surprised if you're not considering them. So it might come in the latter stages of the season, Leicester become assets that we go to, and they've still got 3 fixtures to rearrange as well: Everton, Norwich, and Chelsea. So there is going to come a point where they've got 2 or 3 double game weeks. At that stage, yeah, I might go there, but for now, no. They'll be on my radar for game week 30 as a probable free hitter, but after that, it might be waiting until the likely wild card to then bring Leicester in.
yeah, I think that makes sense. I think there will be a point in the season where we're all on them, but I don't think
Yeah,
it's now.
I don't think it's
No
yet.
double.
No, agreed. Right, shall we quickly come on to how we got on then this week, mate, and then we'll
Yeah.
discuss the upcoming fixtures.
Right. So I got 54 points. That's 10 from Foster, 9 Cancelo, 7 Laporte, 9 from Son, captaincy of 6 from Veghorst, and then sort of a mixture of threes and twos. That actually wasn't enough to give me a green arrow. I got a red arrow of 1,033 places,
So
and I'm down to 180k.
did you Was that with no hits?
No, -4.
So it was 50 overall then.
Yeah,
Okay, all right.
I'll keep that quiet.
Wow. I was wondering, no, it's just when you said you had a red arrow. It was strange because that's 1 point less than what I got, and I was on a free hit, but I got a
Oh yeah,
6k green arrow. I ended up on 55 points, albeit 17 points more than what I would have had from the previous team because I would have played De Gea instead of Foster. Foster, for instance, De Gea obviously got 2. Foster would have been sat on my bench with 10. So it was little decisions like that. I would have brought in Weghorst for a -4 and captained him. They were all on the plan. So yeah, I think it was 17 points when I worked it out, and I'll take that. Anything from 15 up, I would have been pretty happy. It felt like it was a game week in which I needed to free hit rather than wanted to, just because my team looked awful on paper. And it means I've got one left, and I'm up to 65k overall with free hit, bench boost, and wild card left. What chips have you got?
free hit and triple captain.
Okay, so should we come on to the free hit first then, before we talk
Yep.
about the standard approach that people seem to be taking at the moment? Are you of the mindset with only one free hit left to work your way towards game week 30, taking hits to try and build a team for it? Or are you just going to not worry about it, focus on the upcoming doubles, and then free hit in 30?
I think the latter. So I looked on that kind of fixture prediction website, FPL team, where you can see how your
Peter.
team looks.
Peter was
Yeah, PM
Pete,
at the
Peter was
meetup.
one of the last man standing with me at the meetup. There was, I think, 6 of us
Oh,
left.
nice.
He's such a good lad. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, I got on well with him in the meetup in London.
Yeah,
So yeah, I used this site, and
great site.
even if I used the transfer each week in the build up to game week 30, I'd still be missing about 4 players.
Yeah, same. I
So yeah, for me, it's a no brainer. I have to basically play my game, my free hit in game week 30,
yeah,
and then just plan the rest around that. But yeah,
yeah. I'm of the same opinion because obviously in 30, the only teams that are playing is it's Arsenal, Villa, Brentford, Leicester, Leeds, Wolves, and Tottenham, West Ham. And obviously, at the moment, Watford, Everton are in there. They play tonight. We're obviously recording on Thursday. I fully expect Everton to beat Boreham Wood. So, providing that they do so, there's only 4 games. And yeah, looking at my team using FPL.team, I've got 5 players at the moment. Um, there's no way I want to be taking -8s, -12s to build a team of 11 for that week, particularly given the players that I'm going to be having will be playing each other. So it's so tough. So yeah, I think free hit 30. It leaves me with a good team for 31 because those that are doubling, for instance, Chelsea, Villa, um, Leeds, and even Saints, they've all got good game week 31 fixtures. So it means that you can build your transfers now, and then on the other side of that free hit, you're gonna have a good looking team, and then you can look ahead to the potential double, 33, and then what is deemed to be the big double in 36. If you've got a wildcard in hand, then you could focus then, but it gives you some time. So someone like yourself, James, that doesn't have a wildcard, you've got 5 weeks then to start planning towards that, say that big double. Whereas, yeah, I think I'm seeing a lot of people potentially wildcard free hit now. It's not a strategy for me. I did look at a possible wildcard, but it's really hard to build a team that I'd want with the players that I'd want that doesn't then fuck you over in game week 30. Because, for instance, at the moment, I've got triple Liverpool. They blank in 30. At the moment, I'm targeting a Chelsea asset. They blank. I've already got 2 Saints players. They blank. I kind of want those guys for the next 2 weeks, whereas a lot of people are now obviously targeting Arsenal, they're targeting Leeds, they're targeting Villa, and they're
mm.
dropping the likes of Man City and
Yeah,
Liverpool. That's the thing. And
yeah, and even Saints. I think you're potentially building for that 1 week, but
yeah,
fucking over 28 and 29.
exactly. So if you've got 2 free hits, I'd 100% be free hitting in 30 as a minimum and not restricting yourself. So if you are wild carding now, at least you can have that approach of not worrying about 30. But if you don't have the free hit, yeah, I'd be a little bit. I'd be a little bit concerned about how you approach that and what it looks like when it comes to 30. That's the only thing. And beyond that, because you look at City, for instance, from game week 31 all the way to the end of the season, glorious set of fixtures. Now, if you've lost Cancelo, it's going to be very hard to bring him back in without taking hits. And the rest of us are maybe going to be wanting to load up on City at some point. They're going to have probably a decent double, Newcastle at home being one of them in 36. You're going to want maybe double, triple Man City by then. And it's the same with the likes of Liverpool. If you've lost them now, how hard is it going to be to bring them back at their current price points?
Yeah, yeah, very true. You probably got a lot of value in them as well if you still on them.
Fuck yeah. I'd lose like 0.6 million if I sold Trent now.
Yeah, same for me with Cancelo. I think it's huge. Those who don't have any free hits, I think it'd just be a case of maybe hitting your way to the point where you have maybe 9 or even
Yeah.
10 players for game week 30.
And
Don't break your back to get 11.
no, and I'd be happy with that because I think obviously with Saints beating West Ham yesterday, we it now means that obviously West Ham Spurs is on in game week 30. And a lot of people already have maybe a Son, a Kane, a couple of West Ham. Like, for instance, myself, I've got triple West Ham. Now, I'm selling them because I know that I'm free hitting in 30. But if you don't have that, you've suddenly got 3 or 4 players that you wouldn't have had that you will then have in game week 30 now. So it's probably fallen for those without it in the right way. Whereas for those that were gambling on it being, the other way around and Saints being the ones that are going out, they've probably lost out there, particularly for game week 26 wildcarders have maybe suffered a little bit more because they would have punted on the likes of Saints. And obviously now they're staring at that blank.
Yeah, very true.
It's a tough one, but I just think strategically it's tricky for me. Probably going to be wildcarding between game weeks 32 and 34. It all depends on the outcome of the FA Cup quarterfinals, and again the draw is this evening. I think is it before the
Yeah, I was wondering when that was. Yeah, I
I
think
think
it's soon.
yeah, I think it's before the kickoff of the Everton game possibly. It's worth keeping an eye on, but again that could have a big impact because if all the big teams don't get each other, then there's inevitably going to be more blanks, because at least 2 or 3 of them will progress to the semi-finals. So that could be a real issue. But yeah, I think for those that are in our position and you're looking to free hit in game week 30, I wouldn't necessarily be panicking about bringing in more of those players. I'd be focusing on what's immediately ahead in the next 2 games. And it allows you to maybe take punts on the likes of Newcastle and the likes of Chelsea and Saints without having to worry about that blank.
Yeah, agreed. I think it puts you in a good position.
100%. So we got, I think, we had one question in for FPL, and it was from our friends over at the Golden Goal Fantasy Football Podcast. The question is, how many Spurs players will you have in FPL?
When? What now? Or
I'd probably say, yeah, probably now. Now or at
yeah,
least for the double.
at least one. I'd say maximum 2. I'd say you either go Son Kane or Kane Kulusevski or Son and Kulusevski.
Yeah.
One, 2 of those 3. I'd say. I don't think I'd fancy a defender.
No, no, definitely
No
not.
other midfielders other than the Swedish guy appeal to me really.
No, agreed. I can't get to Kane without tearing my team apart. So for me, it will probably just be Son for that double.
I think I'm happy with Son, to be
Yeah,
honest.
it's Man United away and Brighton away. I don't think they're going to be simple games. So I'm not going to break the bank to bring Kane in and captain him when Mo Salah is away at Brighton and away at Arsenal. Salah's going to be the inevitable captaincy choice in that game. His EO is, again, going to be out of it. And those with triple captain, that's another possibility to do it, James. I know,
know
what you...
I am thinking about it. Yeah.
Exactly. So, yeah, for me, I'm not going to break the bank to get a player in that I'm then not going to captain. So, likely one for me.
Fair enough.
Right, I think that draws the pod nicely to a close then, James. It's been about 30 minutes and hopefully given enough people some good information on the games, the upcoming strategies, and maybe a little bit of food for thought about just considering what chips you're using and the types of players to target. So as always, James, it is a goodbye from me.
And goodbye from me.
Cheers, guys.